Hello YouTube fans, Rant here, and welcome to a Banlist prediction video for January-February 2016. So it's a little bit early to be thinking of the next Banlist, but it is being made blatantly clear that Konami will not tell us when the Banlist is going to actually hit. So we have to be prepared for if it comes straight after Mosh or just after the Molax release. It's most likely going to be in February 2016, but they could do what they have done in the past with very notable cards like Stratos, Crush Card Virus, and Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, where they hit the deck very hard so it doesn't become too impacting on the meta. For example, Crush Card Virus was, I believe, banned. Stratos was limited, I think, and I know Dragon Rulers were banned completely. So the deck, Dragon Ruler deck, Dragon Dark Matter Rulers deck was not a thing anymore. So yeah, I'm going to predict hopefully some of these will actually take place. Definitely Wavering Eyes, because I don't really want to play against Wavering Eyes anymore. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't want to do it either, so let's get straight into this. I'm predicting 5 ban cards to hit Pepe quite hard, so that it will probably turn to a 4-power Draco Slayer, and it won't be as dangerous since we don't have Hopab during the TCG, and it won't have easy access to Naturia Beast. So it should be more streamlined and should allow other meta decks to thrive in this next period. So first, the Performance Engine itself should be banned, which is Damage Juggler and Plush Fire. The rest of them don't matter, but these two are the core of that engine. This searches out everything that you need. It can stop Wavering Eyes, and yeah, you just exceed with King of the Fairy Limbs on top of this. Detach this to search out X-Saber Palamuro, then search out Hatrika through this card, then bring on Naturia Beast to 1, and that's not fun for anyone. Or if you want to go into your Rafflesia or your Infinity, you still get plus from using this as a material or sending this to the graveyard or destroying it through the Pendulum Wizard. So getting rid of Damage Juggler would be very beneficial, but so would Plush Fire. Plush Fire doesn't have a once per turn effect for its monster effect if it's a strong battle or card effect, especially some performance from your deck, and that is a bit too overpowered, especially since it's not once per turn. It has great synergy with Luster Pendulum, Wavering Eyes, and Pendulum Wizard, so that will be very problematic for the format coming up. So getting rid of both Plush Fire and Damage Juggler would stop the Performance Engine being viable, and therefore they will not make as much of impact. Well, they will make an impact, but they won't make as bad of impact as they have done in the OCG. And this is what we're basically inferring from, since we are just about to enter this period of Pepe domination. They've already had to deal with this period of Pepe domination for several months now, and they've banned this in the OCG now in the January formats. These two cards are banned, so we should get the same treatment over here. Next is Wavering Eyes, currently not banned in the OCG, currently not banned in the TCG, and I really want this gone. It's horrible. Why did you make such a degenerate card? It's like Tower's last format, or Necros and Darklaw, the format before that. Wavering Eyes is too powerful for this game to actually cope with. It doesn't need to be a thing. We're fine with Twin Twisters, we're fine with the Naturia Beast. It's just too sacky waste of that. You basically top deck it and you win, essentially, unless they have a Wavering Eyes or an out to it. It's just such a look-sack card that doesn't need to exist. The fact that you can search out another copy just is painful for any Plenum user to have to go against, since they can basically rip away your scale, search out another Wavering Eyes, and let you not play anymore. You don't want a format where you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because of one card. Well, one free of. Plus, I know a lot of people who asked to side this out, and that should show how horrible this is to play against. It's like Vantis Emptiness in Dragon Ruler formats. So Wavering Eyes banned would be beneficial for everyone, and I think more or less every player out there who plays Pendulum decks would agree with me that Wavering Eyes banned would be beneficial for the game. Next is Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. Why should we let Savage Dragon Infinity become rampant? The OCG doesn't have Ptolemaeus anymore. It was banned 2 formats ago in, I believe, the September or October ban list. So we don't need it either. We don't want Savage Dragon Infinity access for rank 4 decks. That makes it too potent to have to go against. You have to go against Savage Dragon Infinity, Solemn Notice, which Full Force Pepe in OCG never had Solemn Notice, and their Savage Dragon Infinity, I should say Solemn Strike, because that's what it's now named as. So why should we? Why should we have to deal with such a field we have to go against? Technically, Wavering Eyes is justified in the fact that you can, if you can bait out the Savage Dragon Infinity negation, you can Wavering Eyes and get rid of Infinity, and that's all fine. But I don't think either are justifiable in the game. I'm not going to say Savage Dragon Infinity should get banned itself and keep Ptolemaeus. Savage Dragon Infinity is just access for Dynamist Despots Cosmo, technically, because they can bring out Infinity as well with their Slip Riders, but that's not likely. Cyber Dragons and Raid Raptors, that is not too powerful. Cyber Dragon Infinity wouldn't be too rampant as much, so it would be more fair on them. Plus, Cyber Dragon Infinity would be a very expensive card for all those Cyber Dragon players who wants to play Infinity. So Ptolemaeus should be banned completely, just so we don't have to deal with Infinity. And finally, Elder Entity Norden. Everyone knows what Instant Fusion, how this is done. Instant Fusion Norden, bring out a rank 4, go into your Exceed, Instant Plus. So that is just not good. Just not good at all. I believe Norden is now banned in the OCG, same for Ptolemaeus. I believe at the same time, so by getting rid of Norden, it will be a lot more fair. Although in the time they had super polymerization at once, so technically it's more justifiable for them to get rid of Norden than us. But do you really want to lose because they top deck Instant Fusion, special summon Norden, Reborn, Luster Pendulum, or something that they've detached, and bring out something like Ignista or Infinity, anything, to be honest. It's going to be very annoying to deal with. So by hitting those 5 cards very hard, then you should curve the control that Pepe will have on the format. Next, going to the cards that I think should be limited. The first of these is Wisdom Eye Magician. If Pepe dies, Magicians is one of the likely candidates to become the strongest deck in the format. However, if you leave it unchained, you'll make it too strong, and again, we'll have a situation where it's like full on domination, and other decks cannot play as effectively. So Wisdom Eye should be hit for that reason, so that Magicians don't become too rampant as well, and in the dawn of the Pepe massacre, I should say, because we all know Pepe's going to get hit. It's just when they're going to get hit. So Wisdom Eyes to 1 would be beneficial, so that Magicians don't become like Pepe is going to be at the beginning of this format. So yeah, that's the 1. Plus it doesn't search, it replaces itself, so it's not subject to mistake, which is annoying as well. Then we have Emergency Teleport. Emergency Teleport is the hit for Cosmo, and the only hit for Cosmo, since Cosmo is technically not classed as the best deck anymore. It's one of the most expensive decks of the last format, but it is no longer the best deck. So Emergency Teleport, it should be hit because it allows too many OTK plays, and OTKs are not very good for the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's too fast. It doesn't allow your opponent to play the game enough as well. So it's not very good. It's just not very good in general. Plus the fact that someone has Farm Girl, and you can come with very well with that Destroyer. So you have like that Destroyer, poke, summon out, play E-Telly, summon out Farm Girl, poke, search out that Destroyer, turn into that Destroyer, kill that Destroyer, to summon out another ship, and then attack the game. That's really, really not good for the game. Emergency Teleport should be hit to 1, so that Cosmo won't be too overpowered. Although it isn't the best deck, it's one of those decks that could creep into full force meta when Pepe is defeated. Then Solemn Notice to 1, or should I say Solemn Strike to 1. Solemn Notice is coming out in Bosch as a secret rare, so it is going to be newly coming out, but like what they did with Necros of Gungnir in the release of Secret Forces, it can be hit early and still be profitable for Konami. So, yeah, we all know what Solemn Notice does. Negate the monster effect or negate inherent summon for 1500 life points. Not enough life points, really. If it had been 2000, it wouldn't be as dangerous. But it'd still be a hefty thing to have to deal with, especially since it's a counter trap. So Solemn Notice to 1 wouldn't be too bad. We would only have to win one of them. We only have to go out and buy one of them, to be honest. So, yeah, Solemn Notice to 1 would be the best thing to allow other decks to thrive, especially Mermail. Although I do predict a Mermail hits, and that's in the sense of Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince. Neptibus could hit to go down to 2, since we only have DVC Diva at 1. We need to kind of let it have some leeway and have Neptibus at 2 just to make up for the DVC Diva at 1. So Neptibus allows OTKs for days. It has great combos. It allows you to go turn 1 Moulin Glacier with your DVC Diva, hopefully. Or if you have the right cards, you probably can go for Moulin Glacier turn 1 without Neptibus. Without Deep Sea Diva, but Neptibus is the best way of instigating the Moulin Glacier play. That's the Liquid Duo, basically. And the fact that it summons out it can send one and then search out another one. So basically you send both your Dragoons and you're going to get a search even if Neptibus is negated. So that's too much indeed. So hitting that to 2 would make it a little bit less curved. It wouldn't make it too overpowered as it goes into the graves of Pepe. Standing in the graves of Pepe. Then we have 4-PAL Pendulum Wizard. 4-PAL Pendulum Wizard is coming out as Secret Rare. Neptibus is an Ultra Rare. And by hitting Pendulum Wizard, you make the 4-PAL engine slightly less consistent, not 100% inconsistent. It doesn't make it too dead, but it will curb the strength that the 4-PAL Dracoslayer will have when the Pepe side of the things is gone. So by hitting Pendulum Wizard, it would be most beneficial, since Pendulum Wizard just allows you to speed through the engine too fast for your opponent to really deal with, essentially. I don't predict Skullcrow Bat Joker to be hit though, just because it's so beneficial for Perform PAL. Pendulum Wizard isn't needed. Perform PAL Skullcrow Bat Joker really is. It allows the engine to be good, and since it is a protagonist engine, it really doesn't need to get too many hits. Pendulum Wizard 2 would be best, just to curb it slightly until the anime is over, and then they can more or less bad-handle this. So yeah, Pendulum Wizard 2 would be best. But these are less likely since they would only just get their release, and Konami wants to make money. So now onto the cards that essentially should come off the ban list. And the first of these is the Dark Magician of Chaos. It has recently been errated in Duelist Pack Battle City, which has now finally come over to the UK and Europe TCGs. So now it has no excuse to be on the ban list. Its effect is not as powerful. It's like Crush Card after it's errated. No one's going to be playing it in the meta. The only deck that can really have any benefit from Dark Magician of Chaos is Infernoid, because you can add back reasoning from it. But it's not going to be something that's going to impact the meta and does not deserve to be on the ban list anymore. The next is Cyberstein, again a card that will help Infernoid and doesn't need to be on the ban list. Why would you pay 5,000 life points for anything other than like Materia Exterior, which helps against Pendulum decks, and Last Warrior from Another Planet? I can't remember its effect off heart, but I think it was overcomable as such. So Cyberstein to 1 wouldn't impact the meta. It has no OTK that's going to be too impacting, and it's a really nice card that I would love to play IRL. So yeah, Cyberstein should go to 1 for that. And then next one is Thousand Hour Restrict. Why is this still on the ban list? Someone tell me why this is still on the ban list. This does not deserve to be on the ban list anymore. It doesn't have any protection that nowadays cards really need. Like, it can't be destroyed by card effects. It doesn't have that effect. It doesn't have that effect. It can be targeted. It can be destroyed by battle. If you can stop the battle, essentially, you can stop OTKs. That's about it. It's not going to do anything more. It's not going to be featured in any meta decks. You don't have metamorphs anymore, so you can't easily bring this out. There's no way of really searching out Relinquishing Vows Now with Idol very effectively. So, Vows Now Restrict does not deserve to be on this balance anymore. It should go to 1 or 2 or 3 or just completely come off it. It does not need to be there anymore. Next is Harpy's Feather Duster. Last format, I would not have said Harpy's Feather Duster should come back, but this format, I think it is needed. Since we're in now full Performapal age, Harpy's Feather Duster is the best weapon. However, if we get back Heavy Storm, it will give the controller too many pluses, since there are quite a few cards that are gaining plus from being destroyed by it while in the scale, say Flushfire or Guiding Ariadne or Lunar Light Tiger. There's so many cards that can gain plus from Heavy Storm, whereas Happy's Feather Duster, it's just a clearance. It doesn't give you any real plus. It depends on what your opponent has as back row. There are outs to this, like the Huge Revolution is over, Starlight Road, and yeah, getting rid of, by having Happy's Feather Duster at 1, we don't have to have Heavy Storm at 1, and we won't get the plus that is really there. It's like Rogeki at 1 at the moment. It isn't too dangerous. It does allow some OTKs, it does allow some comebacks, but it doesn't completely stop the game. It's going to be to the point where Happy's Feather Duster isn't going to be good anymore. Like, Rogeki is kind of falling out of favor. I've seen a lot of decks that are not actually maining Rogeki anymore because you don't really need it. It's like Monster Reborn in the OCG. They don't run it anymore. It's not needed. And yeah, I think Happy's Feather Duster will eventually become like that. Next is Artifact Morale Attack to 2 or maybe 3. It should come back now, mainly because artifacts are gaining more favor in the TCG as of Cosmo. It would be the best way of improving Cosmo, unless you give them too OP a support, but they did not. The best stuff they gave us was Cosmojo and Cosmo Dark Eclipse in the next set. So Morale Attack to 2 would benefit Cosmo greatly, since this is the way Cosmo can out Pepe, and it really doesn't need to be at 1 in the TCG anymore. There's no hat that's going to be too rampant, and it's not going to make too much of a meta impact. And if it did, it would only be giving some Cosmo decks some prestige, and Cosmo isn't the best deck. And OCG has this at 3, so, you know. And then finally, Monster Gate. This should come back to 3. Like I always say, because I'm an Inferno player, Monster Gate should be at 3. Why are the OCG the only people to have Monster Gate at 3? So why can't we? It's not going to make any other impact except for making Inferno competitive to the extent that I can possibly beat Pepe, although they have a lot outs like Solemn Notice, Cyberdragon Infinity, who else? Manchuria Beast. They have so many outs to Infernoid, so Monster Gate 3 will just make them more competitive. It won't make them too overpowered. You won't be seeing that many events, if any, events won by Infernoid. It will just make them top 8able having Monster Gate to 3. They really do deserve it. Then finally, the cards I think will not move on the ban list are number 16, Shockmaster. I've seen a few people suggest that Shockmaster comes back to 1. Seriously? Those people must not been thinking straight, because Shockmaster is the reason why Pepe was extreme over in OCG, and having Shockmaster at 1 in the TCG will just bring us back to full force OCG period where everyone loses to Shockmaster turn 1. So yeah, having Shockmaster on 1 would not be beneficial, so we keep that banned. Next is Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit should not come off the ban list, come back to free at all, just because Performer Pal Dracoslayer will be able to abuse this. They are doing so in the OCG now, so having Rescue Rabbit to free over here would be beneficial for us, because we would have the same boost that OCG is now currently having with the Performer Pal Dracoslayers. So Rescue Rabbit at 1 is completely fine. Next is Elemental Hero Stratos. I know people say free Stratos and everything like that, but we have Shadow Mist at 3. We don't need Stratos. If Shadow Mist went to 1, then Stratos can come back. I'll be fine with Stratos back then. But Shadow Mist at 3 would make make heroes, possibly hero pendulums, a bit rampant, and I don't feel like anyone was to really deal with that. Not so many Dark Claws and stuff like that, and MSTs from the Stratos. It's just that it's not what. If it was once per turn, then it wouldn't be as abusable. And finally, Heavy Storm, because you get too much plus of it over Harpy's Feather Duster, which doesn't give you real plus. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Banlist prediction video. Please leave your comments below your suggestions for my channel in general, or if you think I've missed anything off, or you think any of my things were completely off the point, just tell me down below in the comments. I'd like to read them. Yes. And yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, enjoy this, and once you find content. Madarant signing out.